On the surface, it is challenging to find a common element that binds together this incredible mosaic of lives that span the past 3 centuries. The example of their lives teaches us all, yet they are not all educators. Neither are they all activists, yet they each found their passion, their cause, their voice. Among them we find both the famous as well as the obscure. The fierce and adventurous take their place beside the demure and the soft-spoken. Collectively, whether we know their names or not, they have enriched our lives through their writing, their painting, their performances, and their discoveries. Those who amassed and bequeathed great fortunes share equal honors with those who died penniless, for each of these women knew their worth lay not in their wealth. They have blessed our communities with their contributions, but at critical times in our history, they have also shaken the very foundations of our beliefs. They dared to question the status quo and confront the injustices of their time. Through their passionate concern for others, they transformed despair into hope. They took their dreams and turned them into reality. Their achievements cannot be measured by dollars or degrees earned, but must instead consider the immeasurable worth of lives touched and attitudes changed. With backgrounds as diverse as their interests and accomplishments as far-flung as their influence, in the end it is their ties to Georgia that connect them, for they are truly Georgia women of achievement. Through Georgia Women of Achievement, you join with us to honor the extraordinary contributions of women of this state, whose lives serve to inspire not just their own generation, but current and future generations as well. Just as sure as magnolias and peaches, these women are identified with the southern state of Georgia. Georgia Women of Achievement is an organization dedicated to recognizing extraordinary women, not just the famous or the wealthy or the best educated, though certainly they are among those honored, but women who have made exceptional contributions in their field and inspired others to make use of their talents. In its first 10 years, this organization has bestowed this high honor on 38 remarkable women who have left their mark not just on this state, but around the world. Women like the founder of the Girl Scouts, Juliette Gordon Low, and like authors Margaret Mitchell and Flannery O'Connor, or former U.S. Senator Rebecca Latimer Felton and Ellen Smith Craft, a former slave who fought for freedom for all. Their stories are truly compelling, as are those of every honoree. And here is just a sample of the stories of a few remarkable Georgia women of achievement. Born into slavery and orphaned as a young child, Carrie Steele Logan was one of the first black landowners in Atlanta. But she also knew the hunger and heartache of the abandoned children around her as she worked as a maid at Union Station. Unable to bear leaving them unattended, she placed the foundlings in a boxcar to play during the day, taking them home with her at night. As their numbers grew, her tiny house grew smaller. To raise money for a larger facility, she authored her autobiography and sold copies in the street. The century-old facility that she founded is the oldest black orphanage in the nation, providing a home for more than 20,000 children since its inception. Hazel Raines was the first Georgia woman to earn pilot's licenses, both private and commercial. After graduating from Wesleyan Conservatory in 1936, she did some barnstorming and stunt flying with the Georgia Air Races and Show. It wasn't long before she was presented with an opportunity to train pilots for the Army and Navy Air Corps. Then came Pearl Harbor, and the U.S. entered the war. Hazel was quickly recruited as one of 25 American women pilots to serve as a ferry pilot in the Air Transport Auxiliary to the RAF in Britain, flying without guns or ammunition in the skies still dominated by the German Luftwaffe. After the war, she served as a trainer for the Brazilian Air Ministry until being recalled to active duty at the outbreak of the Korean War. The stories of her highly secret missions to NATO bases all over Western Europe have yet to be told. Given the lifelong pluck she exhibited, no one would have guessed that she had a weak heart, which brought her life to an untimely end at the age of 40. It was out of a poor neighborhood in Columbus, Georgia, that the mother of blues was born. Gertrude Pritchett, or Ma Rainey as she came to be known, was singing as soon as she was talking. At 15, she made her debut at Columbus's Springer Opera House and attracted the attention of a traveling showman named Pa Rainey. They married in 1904 and performed together for the next 20 years. Ma Rainey traveled the vaudeville circuit playing to a predominantly black audience. With a raw and direct style and accompanied by a primitive assemblage of jugs, kazoo, banjo, tinny piano, and musical saw, Ma Rainey improvised a down-home blues that would influence the likes of Bessie Smith, Ethel Waters, and Billie Holiday. Forced into retirement during the Depression, she returned to Columbus where her blues turned to gospel, and she gave her voice to the church choir and her help to the needy for the remaining days of her all-too-short life. Born in Savannah, Ellen Louise Axon Wilson later moved with her family as her father served as pastor at churches in Madison and Rome. One day after church, she met a young man in town on legal business. Their courtship began by correspondence until she moved to New York City to pursue her study of art. After they married, her husband's teaching positions eventually took them to Princeton, where he would serve as president of the university. It was here that Ellen Wilson served as research associate and foreign language translator for many of her husband's scholarly books. Ellen Wilson was a devoted mother of 3 girls who also found time to use her artistic talent to fund a scholarship for the education of underprivileged and rural mountain children. Just 2 years after becoming governor of New Jersey, Woodrow Wilson was elected President of the United States. During her brief tenure of 17 months, the new First Lady led tours of civic leaders and congressmen and their wives to view the unsanitary shacks that lay in the shadow of the nation's capital. On August 6, 1914, Mrs. Wilson died, but not before her legislation to improve living conditions of Washington's disadvantaged citizens passed in Congress on that very day. Georgia native Ellen Louise Wilson left a powerful legacy of activism for all of the First Ladies who have followed her into the White House. The women honored by Georgia Women of Achievement all have roots entwined in the fabric of this state, but the common element that truly unites them is their courage, their compassion, and most certainly their passion for life. And what's exciting is that we've just begun to scratch the surface, for there is untold gold yet to be discovered. From blues singers and barnstorming pilots to authors, educators, and Pulitzer Prize winners, these women and more are worthy to be honored as Georgia's Women of Achievement. As we celebrate their lives and contributions, their work and inspiration lives on in us and through us as we each strive to find that which fuels the flames of our passion, and we find our voice in this world.